Okay, so good day everyone. Today we're going to have our ENMA testmanship and conceptual understanding, which is the set three for social sciences. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. So hi everyone, I am Ma'am Luis Gail Bautista. You can call me Ma'am Gail. So a little background about me. I'm a graduate of BS Psychology as cum laude from Batangas State University, the National Engineering University in Batangas City. And currently, I'm a registered psychometrician. I took my licensure examination last year. And then I'm a college instructor and a guidance associate as my current work right now. So for our discussion for today, we're going to have this understanding the social science. So answer this practice test for 6.5 minutes without using a scratch pad. Okay. So let's first have our first question. Leonardo da Vinci's interest in painting Madonna was an expression of longing for intimacy with his mother from whom he had been separated at a tender age. This illustrates what? Is it A, externalization, B, reaction formation, C, sublimation, or letter D, anticipation? When you're going to choose for an answer, try the elimination method. Okay, so for answer in number one, correct answer here is we have letter C, sublimation. But first, what are these choices nga ba? So first, we have the externalizing behaviors. Katulad ng ipinresent ni Leonardo da Vinci's or dun sa naging question. So it include physical aggression, verbal bullying, relational aggression, defiance, theft, and vandalism. So what do we mean by the externalization? Letter A is not the correct answer because, oh, I'm so sorry, hindi pala siya nakapresent, okay? So letter A is not the correct answer because when we talk about externalization, this is the unconscious defense mechanism by which an individual projects their own internal characteristics onto the outside world or particularly onto other people. Ibig sabihin, it's your unconscious na ikaw mismo, yung sarili mong characteristics ay sa iba mo ipinapasa or pinoproject. Okay? So that is externalization. For example, magagalitin ka. Okay? Pinoproject mo na akala mo maggilitin din yung isang tao, but in reality, that is really you. So that is externalization. Next, when we talk about the anticipation or letter D is not the correct answer because when we talk about anticipation, it is not a defense mechanism, okay? But it is a state of expectation or excitement about an coming event or situation. Nag-anticipate ka, parang may ine-expect ka. So for example, when you know an old friend is going to drop by, you probably are in state of anticipation, okay? So ibig sabihin, iniintay mo yung friend mo. So while waiting for them, you are excited, maybe a little nervous, and filled with expectations about their visit. So anticipating positive events sustains the output of dopamine into the brain's chemical pathways. So anticipation, in this case, it's not the correct answer when it comes to Leonardo da Vinci's painting. Okay? So anticipation, excitement, waiting eagerly for something you know is going to happen. So someone who has just proposed marriage waits in anticipation for a positive reply. So that is the anticipation. So externalization is not the correct answer because it is a defense mechanism when you project your own internal characteristics onto the outside world or to other people. Okay, ibig sabihin. And then the anticipation is not the correct answer because when you're talking about anticipation, it is not a defense mechanism. Rather, it is a state of expectation. Now, let's proceed. When we discuss about different defense mechanism, let's talk about repression. So repression, according in our presentation here, it is the psychological attempt made by an individual to direct one's own desires and impulses toward pleasurable instincts by excluding the desire from one's consciousness and holding or subduing it in as the unconscious. Ibig sabihin, if it is repression, or usually you're going to hear repression sa mga parang kinakalimutan. If for example, Example here is a young child forgets being beaten by a dog but develops a phobia of dogs as he gets older. Ibig sabihin, it is in the unconscious mind of the child. Okay? So ibig sabihin, nangyari yan sa'yo, pero hindi mo siya, it is already in the unconscious, nire-repress mo. You are like pushing it down into yourself. Okay? For example, an adult represses memories of an abusive childhood in order to maintain the illusion of a healthy or functional family. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, hindi niya sa kinakalimutan. It's just that her brain is like, or herself is just acting na, it is a defense mechanism na sinasabi na, parang hindi mo yan naranasan, okay? Just for it na mag-function ng kanyang family, okay? Para hindi niya yun maalala. So that is repression. Next, when we talk about regression, it is a defense mechanism leading to the temporary or long-term reversion of the ego to an earlier stage of development rather than handling unacceptable impulses in a more adaptive way. If we are talking about regression, ito naman yung parang pababa. Okay? So, ibig sabihin po, for example, another clue when it is regression, it is like reverting back to a childlike behavior. For example, a man in a rage projects his anger onto his wife, whom he now sees as the angry one. Okay? So he insists it is her hostility that stimulated his rage and almost immediately his wife becomes angry. So ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng reversion na parang you're feeling like acting in a certain way na parang gagawin mo nung ikaw ay bata. Okay? So it is because of, take note, adaptive. Third defense mechanism, let's talk about displacement. So displacement, it is the unconscious defense mechanism whereby the mind substitutes either a new aim, bago, or a new object for goals felt in their original form to be dangerous or unacceptable. For example, isang person na galit, okay? Ibig sabihin, may isang galit na tao or ikaw galit ka sa boss mo, pero hindi mo naman siya mate-take out or hindi mo kayang magalit sa boss mo. So kanino mo siya, yung galit mo kanino mo maipupunta? Sa family member mo. Okay? For example, by shouting or hindi. Okay, for example, you are so tired in your work. You displaces your tiredness sa anak mo. So that is kind of a defense mechanism, that is displacement. Next, another form or another kind of defense mechanism is projection. So in our presentation, projection means humans defend themselves against their own unconscious impulses or qualities, okay, by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. For example, a wife is attracted to a male coworker but can't admit her feelings. Very example nito when it comes to, for example, in psychology field, example of a projection is, for example, lagi mo nang pinagbintangan na nagloloko ang iyong partner. But in reality, ikaw pala yung nagloloko talaga. So that is kind of projection. So a man who feels insecure about his masculinity mocks other men for acting like women. So that is projection. So parang dinidepensahan mo yung sarili mo, but in reality, that is you. So it is not just in negative situations, but also in positive qualities. Okay? So review, we talked about repression, we talked about regression, we talked about displacement, and we talked about projection. Now, another defense mechanism is we have rationalization. When we say it's rationalization, it is making excuses or making up reasons to justify behaviors or thoughts. Nira-rationalize mo kahit mali naman talaga. For example, a student who is rejected from her dream college may explain that she's happy to be attending a school that's less competitive and more welcoming. So, ibig sabihin, imbis na parang i-take niya yun in a negative way, nire-rationalize niya na, hindi ako na-accept sa school kasi mas okay ako sa school na ito. Okay? Nini-make up niya ng excuses or reasons. Rationalization. Next defense mechanism is we have reaction formation. It is a way of protecting the mind, okay, our mind, from the uncomfortable thoughts or desires. For example, A person may experience normal feelings of sadness. Normal na masad ka, ma-disappoint after a relationship breaks down. If they feel that these emotions are unacceptable, they may publicly act as if they are happy or unconcerned. So nagkakaroon ka na react. Parang kabaligtaran yung nire-react mo. Imbis na parang malungkot ka kasi pag-break ka sa jowa mo, pero mag-a-act ka pa na mukha kang masaya. But in reality, nahihirapan ka. Okay, so the mature defenses are defined by a healthy and unconscious relationship with the reality. So reality is accepted even when it is not appreciated. So uncomfortable feelings and thoughts are deliberately transformed into less threatening forms rather than being pushed aside. So some defense mechanisms are considered more mature. That means using them may be more sustainable. So ibig sabihin, ma'am, if we use different defense mechanisms, is it wrong or are we immature? No, it doesn't. It's just you protecting yourself. Kaya nga dyan din pumapasok. Kaya ito po ay under kay Freud. Okay? You are protecting your ego. So even in the long term, they may not be particularly detrimental to your emotional or mental health. So three such mature strategies are sublimation, compartmentalization, and intellectualization, which we're going to talk about the different defense mechanisms. Going back to our questions, wait lang, didiscuss natin si sublimation. Okay? So, kanina, we talked about another defense mechanism is we have denial. So, ito yung blocking out a fact mentally because it is painful to accept. For example, namatayan ka ng iyong mahal sa buhay, you are too denial na hindi mo ma-accept na nangyari talaga yun. Okay? So, that is a defense mechanism. Denial. Blocking out a fact. Next. So kanina, we talked about kung kanina yung mga defense mechanism natin pinag-aralan natin, it is more of in a negative way or in a negative perspective. Now let's talk about yung may positive effect. Okay? So when we talk about intellectualization, okay? Intellectualization is a defense mechanism by which reasoning is used to block confrontation with an unconscious conflict and its associated emotional stress. So where thinking is used to avoid feelings. So ibig sabihin, it involves removing oneself emotionally from a stressful event. Imbis na emotions mismo ang pinagagana mo, anong pinapagana mo? Yung logic mo. Okay? So intellectualization involves a person using reasoning and logic to avoid uncomfortable or anxiety-provoking emotions. Imbis na madala ka ng iyong emosyon, iisipin mo muna yan ng mabuti. So intellectualization can be a useful way of explaining and understanding negative events. For example, if person A is rude to person B may think about the possible reason for person's A's behavior. So, iniisip mo na imbis na magalit ka, ay, bakit ba siya sa akin nagagalit? Ba't ba she is so rude to me? So, if you are person B, you're going to intellectualize it na, okay, baka may pinagdadaanan lang siya. Okay, so you're not acting just on emotions, but you're acting based on your reasoning and logic. That is intellectualization. Next, when we talk about compartmentalization, it is a defense mechanism that we use to avoid the anxiety that arises from the clash of the contradicting values or emotions. Di ba usually sa sarili natin, nagkakaroon tayo ng contradicting beliefs. Okay? For example, a manager can think of himself as nurturing and sensitive at home. Okay? Mabait ka sa bahay, but hard-nosed tough guy at work. Ibig sabihin, nagko-contradict. But it still depends on the situation. Ano pang mga example niyan? Usually, for example, if you are a student, you are like quiet lang sa bahay, pero when it comes to to school, ikaw ay maingay. Okay, so somehow it is to avoid the anxiety because of the clash. So that is compartmentally compartmentalization. Okay? And next, we have the sublimation. So, ito yung sublimation that is the answer to the Leonardo da Vinci's question. So, ano nga po ba pag sinabi nating sublimation? When we talk about sublimation, it is a mature type of defense mechanism where socially unacceptable impulses or idealizations are unconsciously transformed into socially acceptable actions or behavior. Out of all these defense mechanisms, ang hindi ko makakalimutan when I was still studying or under my undergrad is sublimation. Why? Kasi parang may isang example sa amin dun na if you're like in a heartbreak or galing ka sa heartbreak, okay, imbes na magmukmuk ka sa bahay, why not do gym? Why not do exercise? Why not do active activities, okay, active or interesting na mga gawain, okay? Kasi nata-transform siya into socially acceptable actions. Why not try dancing? Why not try doing arts? Okay. So possibly, excuse me. So possibly resulting in a long-term conversion of the initial impulse. Okay. So for example, according to our presentation, we talk about sublimation. It is taking unacceptable impulses and transforming them into socially acceptable behaviors. So when we go back to Leonardo da Vinci's question, so Leonardo da Vinci's interest in painting Madonna was an expression for longing for an intimacy with his mother. So rather than na siya ay magmukbok because naglolong siya or namimiss niya ang kanyang mommy, okay, imbis na magalit siya sa kanyang mommy, okay, so nagkaroon siya ng sublimation at na-paint niya pa si Madonna, okay? Or now, Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most sought not most sought or most known painter in the world. Okay, so ibig sabihin, na-turn niya yung kanyang mga impulses into a socially acceptable behavior. So that is sublimation. Okay, so next, another defense mechanism is we talked about displacement. So taking out one's feelings or frustrations on someone or something other than the created those feelings. For example, I'm sorry, Bob, you're not getting that promotion. So ibig sabihin, Robert is not nice to get mad at your elders. So imbis na magalit ka mismo sa iyong boss na hindi ka nakakakuha ng promotion, kanino ka magagalit? Sa iyong anak. Next time, young man, you're not getting dinner. So displacement. Kaya displacement kasi yung placement na dapat dun sa boss mo napunta sa mas younger or sa mas less power sa iyo. Now, we have projection. So projection, it is the misattribution of one's undesired thoughts onto a person who does not have those thoughts. Okay? So for example, sabi ni Chicken One, okay, I hate you. For example, sabi naman ni Chicken 2, what if you're just projecting, okay, yung undesired thoughts? Maybe I remind you of things you dislike about yourself. There is a projection. Now I hate you more. So, yung undesired thoughts ay ipinapasa mo sa ibang tao. Rationalization, so it is justifying one's act by providing a good reason for doing it. For example, one of the greatest na nga, I failed because my teacher hates me, or I failed because my teacher, or I failed because hindi naman ako favorite ng teacher ko. Okay, rather than isipin niya na, I failed because I didn't study well. So that is rationalization, making excuses. Next, we talked about reaction formation. It's converting of irrational thoughts into their positive opposite. So, imbis na from the negative things, okay, pinapositive mo. For example, in this picture, I can't believe he walks around here like he owns the place. Nobody likes him anyway. I think you have a crush. Okay, yan yung mga parang kabaligtaran na pinapakita mo. Akala mo, hindi ka crush ng crush mo kasi laging suplado o masungit sa inyo. Maybe it's a defense mechanism of reaction formation, kabaligtaran. Next, we also talked about regression. As I mentioned earlier, it is like reverting to a childlike behavior. And here in our presentation, it is a reversion to an earlier stage of development in the face of unwanted fears or thoughts. Okay, so we've got really a bad case of regression out here, doctor. Okay, pabaligtad, what do you mean about this? Parang pabalik sa pagkabata. Okay, so that is regression. Now, we have repression. Ito naman, so kung kanina, ito yung parang deep down in your unconscious. So it is about burying a bad thought or fear in one's mind that can be brought out in a symbolic form. So ibig sabihin, parang ito yung pinupush down mo, nire-repress mo sa sarili mo. Okay, usually nangyayari to when it is very traumatic for a person. Just like our example kanina na na-abuse siya nung siya ay bata. So nagkaroon siya ng repression na it's an unconsciously nasa kanya yung trauma na siya ay na-abuse just to have a good family. Okay, or functional family, if you're going to remember. So that is repression. And now the sublimation, which is our answer in Leonardo da Vinci's. So it is redirecting unacceptable drives into acceptable channels. Ma'am, why is this the picture here? For example, if you are like bumagsak sa exam mo, but you're a student athlete, rather than take time na bagsak ka, why not just do practice, practice, and practice, or try new things that is more of unacceptable channels. Imbis na magalit ka, galit na galit ka, di sa bola mo isipain yung galit mo. So that is sublimation. Okay? So that is question number 1. I hope defense mechanisms are very clear to you, or yung each defense mechanisms ay they have their own characteristic ngayon sa pagkaka-interpret ko sa inyo. Okay? Let's have question number 2. So, a cheerleading squad found out that the cheers they have been practicing for competition has been stolen by their previous captain from another squad. So, the group must decide whether they should change their routine or stick to the stolen one. So, Elisa thinks they should create a new routine. However, since the competition was just a few days, everyone else said that they should just do the old one. Eliza, despite her personal opinion, pretends that she also feels they should do the old routine. This clearly demonstrates what? Is it A, conformity, B, the individuation, C, groupthink, or letter D, anonymity? So here, according to Eliza's situation, so she is demonstrating letter A, conformity. Okay, so when we talk about conformity, okay, let's talk about first the individuations. Why it is not the correct answer? Because in this situation, so nagkaroon daw sila ng routine, nakapag-practice na sila as a cheerleading squad. Okay? Pero, nakuha yung routine nila. Ngayon, nagde-decide ang group nila or yung squad if they're going to stick to that routine or they're going to make a new one. And for Eliza, gusto niyang magawa ng bago. But for majority of her squad mates, excuse me, sorry. So, according majority of her squad mates, mas gusto nila na mag-stick na lang. So, anong ginawa ni Eliza? That is conformity. The individuation is not the correct answer because it is the loss of self-awareness or individual identity. In this case, hindi naman nawalan ng identity si Eliza bilang isang cheerleader. So, the individuation. So, when we're talking about the individuation, it is for individuals. When we think about groupthink is not the correct answer. Why? Because when you talk about groupthink, it is when a group makes faulty decisions because group pressures lead to a deterioration. So, kung majority sa inyo, okay, ma'am, some of you may answer groupthink. Okay? Ito kasi yung buong thinking ng grupo because of the pressure. If Eliza was out of the picture, maybe the correct answer here may be groupthink. But because it is clearly stated that Eliza thinks they should create a new routine, however, okay, despite her personal opinion, pretends that she also feels they should do the old routine. Take note of the pretends, okay? When we say it is groupthink kasi it is the group itself. Okay, but in this scenario, it is about Eliza. Okay, so according to this, mental efficiency, reality testing, and moral judgment. So groups affected by groupthink ignore alternatives and tend to take irrational actions that dehumanize other groups. So a group is especially vulnerable to groupthink when its members are similar in background, when the group is insulated from outside opinions, and when there are no clear rules for decision making. So it happens if parang wala nagiging devil's, what do you call this? Parang wala nang nagbibigay ng other opinions. Sige lang kayo ng sige as a group. So that is groupthink. Now, when we talk about anonymity, it is a condition or fact of being anonymous. Okay? So, it is a quality of being unknown, hindi mo kilala. So, here, as we all know, if you're going to answer from this, maybe you crossed out D and B and you chose just between A and letter C. So, an author who is not releasing his name is an example of someone maintaining anonymity. So, ibig sabihin, anonymous ka. Hindi ka ganun kakilala or hindi ka kilala as your own identity. But in the term of, or in the question, the correct answer is conformity. So what does conformity means? It is the process whereby people change their beliefs, attitudes, actions, or perceptions to more closely match those held by groups to which they belong or want to belong, or by groups whose approval they desire. In Eliza's case, kahit gusto niya na siya ay gumawa ng bagong routine, pero because ang sabi ng mga kagrupo niya ay, "Hindi, 'wag na tayong gumawa ng bagong routine, konti na lang yung oras natin." Para kay Eliza, ay sige, stick na lang tayo dito. Nag-pretend lang naman siya, okay? So you conform. Nagko-conform ka, okay? So what are the three types of conformity? Norms or implicit rules shared by a group of individuals that guide their interactions with others and among society or social groups. So Herbert Kalman identified three major types of conformity. We have the compliance, you comply really, identification, and internalization. In this case, Eliza's case, it is about compliance. Okay? I hope that is clear. I hope we are clear with anonymity, conformity, the individuation, and the group thing. Okay? Number 3. 2-year-old Thomas plays happily as long as his mother was in the room. However, Thomas became upset when his mother left the room and was very happy when his mother returned. A psychologist would probably describe Thomas as being what? Is it A, securely attached, B, insecurely attached, C, in the middle of a mistrust crisis, or D, in the middle of a trust crisis? And the correct answer here is we have letter A, securely attached. Why? When 2-year-old daw si Thomas, gusto niya, nakikita niya ang kanyang mommy sa room. At siya ay nalulungkot pag umaalis sa kanyang mommy. That is a normal reaction for a child, lalo na sa mga infant. Okay? So, when we talk about, we have different attachment styles in psychology. So, we have first the insecure attachment. When we talk about insecure attachment, so ang pinaka nagiging indicator niyan, it cries whether mother is present or not. Insecure attachment. So, ibig sabihin, kahit nandyan si mommy niya, na wala si mommy niya, iiyak yan. But when we are talking about the ambivalent attachment, a child may cries when mother leaves and resists contact when mother arrives. Ambivalent. So, ibig sabihin, imbis na ang normal reaction ng isang bata ay tumakbo sa kanyang mommy, okay, hindi yan ang magiging reaction niya. Maybe he will act like a stranger towards his mother, okay? So, magre-resist yan pag bumalik ang kanyang caregiver or usually the mother. And when we are talking about the avoidant attachment, infant doesn't care whether mother lives or not. Yan na yung parang sinasabi na wala nang pake if ang mami niya ay aalis or hindi. Kung babalik man or hindi. Okay? So that is the insecure, ambivalent, and the avoidant. From the word avoidant, ina-avoid niya na. So ang pinaka magandang attachment style when it comes to for a child is yung securely attached or secure attachment. Okay, so here it is the under Erik Erikson's first stage, trust versus mistrust. So what is mistrust versus mistrust? So baby is constantly fed and comforted when they cry to trust that their caregiver will meet their needs. So ang isang bata, normal para sa kanya na iiyak. Nade-develop ang trust ng isang bata kasi binibigyan siya ng needs ng kanyang mother at an early age. Kaya siya first stage ni Erik Erikson. Okay? Ma'am, paano po pagka hindi na ibibigay yung necessary needs ng isang bata? nagkakaroon siya or nade-develop niya yung mistrust. That she feels like he or she is not safe in this world. But a baby who is often hungry, okay, or left to cry for long periods may develop a sense of mistrust in their caregiver and the world around them. So usually yung mga hindi nabibigyan ng aruga, ng necessary needs, sila yung parang mailap sa mundo pag as they grow older. If hindi na-develop yung second stage ni Erik Erikson. Okay? So what is the trust and mistrust stage of development? So this is the first stage of Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. So it is between the birth, yung pagkapanganak pa lang, up until 18 months of age. So during this age, or during this stage, the infant either comes to view other people and himself or herself as trustworthy, kaya nade-develop yung trust towards the other people, and usually towards the caregiver, or comes to a developed fundamental distrust of his or her environment. So that is under developmental psychology. Now, let's proceed to number 4. A 13-year-old boy was brought by his mother to you for diagnosis. He is unable to conform to social norms. Sometimes he is normal and even charming, but more often he lies and manipulates people. He has a history of running away from home, theft, and substance abuse. What personality disorder does he most probably have? So let's take note of the 13-year-old and the different symptoms, okay, or the different criteria. So the correct answer here is letter D, antisocial. So what do we mean if it is antisocial? So it is a personality disorder, personality that is characterized by a long-standing pattern of disregard for other people's rights, often crossing the line and violating those rights. So ito na yung parang wala nang pake sa mga karapatan ng ibang tao. Okay? Parang sila yung hindi na masyadong nakakapag-isip ng normal, okay? Yung parang they just think of themselves. Kaya ang pinaka naging clue dito, unable to conform to social norms. Because if you are normal, okay, if you are in a normal criteria, okay, so ibig sabihin, you think of that in a normal way. But because it is most likely he lies and manipulates, nagkakaroon ng antisocial behavior or antisocial personality behavior. Why A, B, and C are not the correct answer? Borderline, yes, it is still a disorder, a serious mental disorder marked by a pattern of ongoing instability in moods, okay, behavior, self-image, and functioning. Always remember when we are talking about borderline, kaya siya tinawag na borderline kasi it's always parang hot and cold. Okay? Instability in moods. Okay? When we are talking about schizotypal, it is a personality disorder that we talk about psychiatric condition marked by disturbed thoughts and behavior, which, take note, if it is schizotypal, unusual beliefs and fears and difficulty with forming and maintaining relationships. One thing that I remember when we were talking about schizotypal, sila yung parang magical mag-isip. Okay? Yung mga kakaiba ang iniisip nila. So that is most likely in a schizotypal. And when we talk about histrionic, it is characterized by constant attention-seeking, emotional overreaction, and suggestibility. So if it is histrionic, usually it occurs for female. Okay? Histrionic, sila yung parang gusto nila sila yung center of attraction lagi. Okay? Sila yung parang mas nag-o-overreact para mapansin sila. Okay? So that is histrionic. So in this case, okay, running away from home, theft, and substance abuse, that is anti-social. Parang from the word anti-social, ibig sabihin, anti-social norms. Okay? They are not able to conform to social norms. Okay? So that is question number 4. Now, let's talk about, ayan. So, sabi ko nga, when it comes to borderline personality disorder, varying moods or the instability moods, impulsive actions and problems in relationships with other people. Because paiba-iba yung moods mo, okay? So, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ka ng mahirap na ma-maintain ang relationship mo toward other people. Another personality disorder, are you familiar with narcissistic? So, it is, when we say it is narcissistic, it is one of the several types of personality disorders. or mental condition in which people have inflated sense of their own importance. Ito yung naman yung parang ang taas-taas ng tingin nila sa sarili nila. A deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. Ma'am, what is the difference between narcissistic and the histrionic? Always remember, if it is narcissistic, sila yung ang taas-taas ng tingin nila sa sarili nila. Yung, kumbaga, hindi na nila maibaba. Sila talaga ang greatest among the everyone talaga. And maybe you're going to be malilito because of the excessive attention. If we are talking about narcissistic, inflated sense of their own importance or of themselves. Pag histrionic, that is attention seeking. So, lahat gagawin nila para mapunta sa kanila yung attention nila. Kaya din nagkaroon doon ng term na suggestibility. Kahit mag-dress pa sila ng parang kitang-kita na or very short yung dress nila para lang mapansin sila, that is more of histrionic. Okay? So always remember, when it is also about narcissistic, troubled relationships, and lack of empathy for others. Lack of empathy for others. Now, we have the OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So, meron kasi tayong OCD mismo, the obsessive compulsive disorder, and the OCPD, the obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So, when we talk about the OCD, it is common, chronic, and long-lasting disorder in which person has uncontrollable recurring thoughts and or behaviors that he or she feels the urge to repeat over and over. Okay? If it is OCD, ibig sabihin, either obsessions or compulsions. When we thought it is about obsessions, ito yung mga naiisip natin. Usually, it is pair, obsessions and compulsions. For example, iniisip mo na, ay, madami kang germ sa paligid. Most likely, ang magiging compulsions mo, ang gagawin mo, maliligo ka ng maliligo. And it will be only OCD if it affects your daily life. Okay? So that is OCD. So common compulsive behaviors in OCD include excessive double checking of things. Okay, yung paulit-ulit mong gagawin. So that is more of compulsion, such as locks, appliances, and switches. Parang mapapaisip ka, sinarado ko ba yung gasol namin? Pinatay ko ba yung ilaw namin, yung switch namin? So repeatedly checking in on loved ones to make sure they're safe. Counting, tapping, repeating certain words, or doing other senseless things to reduce anxiety. So that is spending a lot of time washing or cleaning. So take note, another thing or another criteria in the DSM is spending a lot of time. So ibig sabihin, majority of your time, or it really affects your time talaga, that is OCD. Obsessions or compulsions. Okay, next. Number 5. Object permanence is an important, nawala yung mga. Object permanence is an important accomplishment of the what? In what stage? So it is under sensory motor stage. So what we're talking about, this is the Piaget stages of cognitive development. So, ma'am, what is this? So, according to this, meron daw tayong cognitive development as a child. So, first stage, the sensory stage or the sensory motor stage. Ano po nga bang edad nangyayari ito usually sa mga bata? So, this is for ages 0 to 2 years old. So, yung pagkapanganak hanggang 2 years old. So, what happens in this stage? Because from the word sensory or senses and the motor, so coordination of senses with motor responses or sensory curiosity about the world. Usually, ano nga bang gumagana when it comes to baby? That is their hearing, smelling, yung sight nila, yung feeling nila, okay? So language used for demands and cataloging or object permanence is developed. What do we mean by object permanence? So object permanence means knowing that an object still exists even if it is hidden. Okay, paano naging part ito ng sensory motor? For example, ang isang bata pinakitaan mo ng bola. Kahit takpan mo yan, alam niya na may bola pa rin yun sa behind that na tinakpan mo. So that is an example of object permanence. It requires the ability to form a mental representation or, for example, schema na-represent din na may bola of the object. For example, if you place a toy under a blanket, the child who has achieved object permanence knows that it is there and can actively seek it. So that is object permanence. Now, the second stage of Piaget is we have the pre-operational or for ages 2 to 7 years old. So what happens here? One thing that you're going to remember about pre-operational stage is we have the, excuse me, symbolic thinking. Okay? So it is the use of proper syntax and grammar to express concepts. So kaya nilang sabihin ang kanilang nararamdaman. So usually, in the ages of 5 to 7 years old, they are able to communicate or express their thoughts. So imagination and intuitions are strong, but complex abstract thoughts are still difficult. So conservation is developed. Example of pre-operational stage, for example, at the age of 7 years old, namatayan ka na, for example, ay ng lolo at lola. Parang 'pag sinabi mo na, lola and lola is already in heaven, it is very, it is hard for them to process na, "Ha, ba't siya nasa heaven?" Okay? Nandun pa yung thinking or madami pa silang tanong because they cannot think abstractly pa. So, pinapagana yung imagination and intuition. So, yung conservation naman na sinasabi, when it comes to the pre-operational stage of Piaget, for example, you have a two glasses. Yung isa pa-cylinder, yung pahaba, or yung isa naman a glass. Parang 'pag tinanong mo, which one will be mas madaming water? Okay? But in reality, kahit ibuhos mo yan dun sa other lagayan, it will still have the same amount. So that is an example of conservation. The third stage, according to the Piaget, is we have the concrete operational, which is for ages 7 to 11 years old. So here in concepts attached to concrete situation. So kaya din siya tinawag na concrete kasi mas defined na. So time, space, and quantity are understood and can be applied but not as independent concepts. So mas nabubuo na yung thinking nila. And when it comes to the fourth stage of Piaget, we have the formal operational or for 11 years old and older. Ito na yung matatanda. So they can think abstractly na, in theoretical, hypothetical, and counterfactual thinking. So abstract logic and reasoning, yan na yung kaya nilang to think outside of the box. They would understand that. So strategy and planning become possible. They can think of different strategies. Concepts learned in one context can be applied to another. For example, there will be a rainbow after the rain. Tama ba? Ayun. So, ibig sabihin, they can think that they could understand that there would be, after raining or after despite the different struggles or hardships, yan ay malalagpasan or still there will be a good day. So, they could think of that way. Okay? Number 6. Learning may be more difficult for deaf children because, is it A, the hearing area in the brain is connected to the comprehension area? B, they cannot imitate information immediately? C, they learn a private language which affects real language? Or letter D, they have to learn with a reduced level of feedbacks. So the correct answer here is letter D. Okay, so they have to learn with a reduced level of feedbacks. Now, when we talk about number 6, okay, when it comes to deaf children, A, yes, we have the Wernicke's areas and the Broca's areas. It is somehow correct, but it does not directly answer the question. So it is not really specified what area, okay, or yung hearing area really in the brain that is connected to the comprehension area. B, deafness has no correlation with intelligence. So only the hearing organ was damaged and not the brain. Ibig sabihin kasi pag bingi ka, hindi naman niya naapektuhan mismo yung pinakautak mo. It's just that there is no stimuli na pumapasok sa pinakapinakikinggan or yung organ, which is the ear. So that is wrong. Okay? So C, they learn a private language which affects real language. Private language is private language possible? Okay? Okay, private language is not simply a language in fact understood by one person, but a language that in principle can only be understood by one person. Okay, that is usually private language. So the last speaker of dying language would not be speaking a private language. Okay? Halimbawa nga dyan, ang mga salita ng isang tao might all be a mental images of German written words, so that all his thinking would be a sort of mental reading of German. So in this case, the reference of the words would be public. Makikita yan ng ibang tao. but the words themselves would be private and hence unintelligible to others because that is how you think on yourself. That is for you. Okay? But here, yung mga deaf children, hindi naman sila ganun ang thinking nila. So what is dying language or the endangered language? It is a language that is at risk of disappearing as its speakers die out or shift to speaking other languages. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung parang nakakalimutan ng mga languages. So language occurs when the language has no more native speakers and becomes a dead language. Okay, so ibig sabihin, it's more of nakakalimutan na. So what is real language? Real language is a powerful language. It's clear, direct, coherent, focused, consistent, and playful at times, and it's authentic. So, ibig sabihin, when it comes to learning sa mga sa mga deaf children, so sila yung, ibig sabihin kasi, nire-reduce yung opportunity for them na mas matutunan compared sa isang batang nakakarinig talaga. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na reduced level of feedback. It's much easier for a child na nakakarinig rather than sa batang bingi. Kasi nga, hindi sila nakakarinig or hindi gumagana ang kanilang ear. So that there is a reduced level of feedbacks. Okay, next, number 7. According to Freud, we don't remember traumatic incidents in our past because of what? Is it A, they are too traumatic to be remembered? B, forgetting is motivated? C, we repress them in our unconscious? Or letter D, all of the above? And the correct answer here is letter C, we repress them in our unconscious, which is medyo nahapyawan natin sa naging defense mechanisms natin in the first question. So repression was the first defense mechanism Freud identified and he believed it is the most important, okay? So the entire process of Freudian psychoanalysis rested on the idea that bringing unconscious feelings and into conscious awareness could lead to the relief of psychological distress. Ibig sabihin kasi, that's why you're pushing down to your pinakakailaliman mo na bilang ikaw because you don't want the stress. So, ibig sabihin, pag pinull out mo yung unconscious feelings, unconscious thoughts mo, magkakaroon siya ng distress. So, Sigmund Freud argued that unacceptable thoughts, memories, and motives could be repressed in the unconscious mind. So, for example, anger at one's mother, memories of childhood abuse, and hatred of a family member might be repressed in the unconscious. So, that is according to Freud. Okay, so the 10 common positive emotions, we have love, serenity, forgiveness, awe, joy, interest, hope, pride, fear. Okay, is most of the among the most powerful of all emotions. Okay, so take time. So 10 ways to fight your fears, take time out. It's impossible to think clearly when you're flooded with fear or anxiety. So it is part of the emotions, basic emotions, ang ating matakot. Okay, number 8. Which of the following descriptions refers to discovery? So is it A, combining known elements to produce something new? B, spread of cultural elements from one individual or group to another? C, initial awareness of existing but unobserved elements of nature? Or letter D, all of the above? When we talk about discovery, it is the letter C, initial awareness of existing but unobserved elements of nature. That's why I feel like if you are discovering something, for example, discovering about yourself, it is already there, but hindi mo lang masyadong napapansin. So it is the unobserved elements of nature. So when you talk about the combining known elements to produce, pag gumagawa ng bago, that is called the invention. If it is the spread of cultural elements, ibig sabihin that is the fusion, or what we call the cultural diffusion. So, ibig sabihin, when we talk about discovery, it is about recognizing something that already exists for the first time that nobody has found before. Ikaw yung naka-discover. Okay, for example, Christopher Columbus discovered America. Okay, so that is discovery. Okay, so what are the greatest scientific discoveries of all time? RNA sequencing, penicillin, the molecular structure of DNA. We all know that DNA is already part of us, humans. Pero of course, may nakapag-aral, may nakapag-discover. So painkillers and anesthetic and the vaccines. So what is an example of an invention? Invention to produce something. So we have the wheel, the printing press. Ibig sabihin yung wheel, yung mga kahoy na binuo para siya maging isang bilog. Not bilog, but kind of wheel na ginagamit para ngayon sa mga, for example, when it comes to cars, telephone, okay, iba't iba yung mga wires elements na ginamit para yan ay tumunog at makakonect tayo sa ibang tao. So that is invention. Number 9.